Now you're the international general manager. How's international business going?
Well, the international business is a challenge for us in the brand. You know, for so long we've been pretty much 90% of the business has been developed in the U.S. So as we grow the business, we try to be strategic in our planning with the business, and we prioritize countries like China, which is the number one for us. But then we also want to stay relevant in the countries where basketball is being played the most. So the best players are either in South Africa or Europe. So the things that we try to do in those areas in relationship to the brand and the game are important. So international business is a challenge, but you know the great thing is like in the U.S., there's a big love for the brand and for the sport in pockets, and so we just try to be relevant in those areas.
So in what major ways would you say that the international market differs from the U.S.?
I think the biggest difference is that the game of basketball itself is less developed in other countries or other parts of the world. So you don't have the fever that is necessarily associated with the way Americans associate with the game of basketball. You know, you have Euro leagues where, I mean, they're just like soccer. You know, the fans go nuts and they go wild, but there's a much smaller community than it is in the U.S. So I think that the biggest difference is how, you know, we help grow the game of basketball. Will help assist the efforts that we want to do with the brand as it relates to the game of basketball for the future. You know, and the consumer is, you know, again, there's pockets of the consumer that loves hip hop and loves the sport of basketball, kind of what I call the culture of basketball, because you know, basketball players and the culture of basketball has its own swag. You know, it's different than other sports. You know, football players and that community has, you know, kind of their own way of rolling. Soccer community has their thing, and basketball definitely has a swag that's different. And so there are pockets of that swag of the basketball culture all over the world, and it's up to us to kind of tap into that and do it in a unique way.
International, of course, we know we have certain levels of poverty or whatever, and the brand is actually doing things to give back and not just taking from it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I've been stressing within my new role is to give back to those who love the brand and embrace the brand. And so you go to a place like Brazil, where you know you have almost 70% of the people living below the poverty line, but yet they love our brand and a brand that carries that premium position. One of the things that I felt it was important to do is to give back in some way, shape, or form to the people who love what the brand is all about. And so, you know, earlier in the year, went back to Brazil and basically rebuilt some courts, donated some courts to one of the local favelas that are in Brazil. Did an event where we brought the kids, had an opportunity to show them a new craft, and then really try to give back to them by way of just some fun, built around the game of basketball, built around the culture of music, built around even soccer. We did some things with what they call futsal, which is kind of like an outdoor basketball form of game of soccer. And you know, just really, and we even did some skate things for the community. But it's really about allowing them to embrace the brand in a different way and show them that, you know, we want to give to them because we appreciate them loving what we do. And I think at the end of the day, what that allows us to do is just to build a tighter relationship with the community that loves the brand.
How do you feel about the online retailers that's selling stuff 6-7 months out in advance? For example, Cool Grades coming out at the end of the year. They're already available this month or this previous month and stuff like that. Is that affecting the brand in any way?
Well, you know, it seems like, you know, when you're a brand that becomes a hot commodity, you're going to have to deal with these types of things on a regular. And as we talked about earlier, some of the business decisions that you have to make, you know, things like this become kind of the reasons why you make certain decisions. I think it definitely affects the brand because, you know, we roll out a plan with a cadence that is very strategic in his thought. So, yeah, it affects us. It definitely affects us. But at the end of the day, we can only control so much. So the things that we can control, we try to take control of it, and what we can't control, we just deal with it.
2010 hits 25 years for the brand. How's that feeling and that accomplishment to be a part of the brand and celebrate 25 years?
Well, it's real special because think about, all of the other companies out there that have tried to take a signature athlete and develop it the way we've done it. None of them really have succeeded. So for us to kind of reach that 25-year mark is pretty special. For me personally, the 23-year mark is special, obviously being the relationship with Michael and
Right.
the 9. And really that was kind of my last kind of hoorah on kind of really being super involved on the product side. I started to move outside after the 23. So that 23 was big for me. But the 25th year anniversary is huge because, there's companies out there that would dream to be in the position that we're fortunately in. I think as you look to go into the future, there's some great things that the brand still will do that will surprise people. And again, hopefully what we do from an international standpoint will shock people even more. And at the end of the day, we hope that the business overall will grow to be twice as big as it is with the help of some of the special things we have planned internationally.
Are we going to continue to see fusions in the future? Because we introduced in 08 or something like that.
Yeah. So the fusion phenomenon actually was one that I think was good for us at the time. Again, separating business from emotional. There's a lot of things that you might not want to do emotionally because you're purist at heart. But at the end of the day, there's some things that make sense and they have a way of working in themselves out. So the reason I say that fusion was good for us because I think it allowed people, and maybe some people don't see this now, but I think they will see it. It will allow them to develop that love and appreciation for our true retro heritage again because, all retro isn't created equal. And we got to a point where we were dropping retro. And so the fusion thing allowed people to have a little bit of that, inspiration from the past, but yet bringing something to, somewhat new to it. And so it allowed people to, to your point, it was a love-hate situation. There were people that loved it, there were people that hated it. But we've always been a brand that's really not afraid of that. That's the way every Air Jordan that we've introduced has been a love-hate. I can't tell you how many times that in the product creation process and developing our Air Jordan that we took it out to kids in the marketplace and showed them. One of the biggest shoes ever, Air Jordan 11. When I first showed that to kids in the marketplace, there were kids out there like, oh, that's the worst shoe. You got to take the shiny stuff out. I mean, killing it.
Patent leather.
Yeah, but then there were kids that were like, that's fire. They got it. And so we have always had that love-hate relationship. And many times what comes out of that is something bigger than anyone even expects. So, all we can do as a brand is try to make the best decisions that we feel are going to enhance the brand going forward. And again, we know that not everybody's going to agree with everything that we do. But at the end of the day, you put people in the position to try to make responsible decisions. And believe me, no one wants to protect the brand more than us.
Right.
So, all you can do is what you feel is best at the time. So, Fusion's going forward, I think you're going to see a change in direction. Again, we have a whole new product team that's working on some things there. I think you'll see a slight change in direction there. But I think for what it was when the time it was introduced, it was right.